Leather, fresh cut leather and shoe polish. That's what my father's hands smelled like every night when he came upstairs for dinner. Every single night for 30 years, Abraham Goldstein's hands, the hardest working hands in Brooklyn. I haven't smelled leather in 57 years. You probably walked past a shoe store this week and didn't think twice. Maybe you smelled it, maybe you didn't. I think about it every single day. The guards here call me Grandpa. The new kids, these young guys, 25, 30 years old, they look at me like I'm a ghost. Maybe I am. But ghosts know things that the living don't. So sit down and let me tell you what I know. My name is Abraham Goldstein. People call me Abe. Been Abe since I was 4 years old and couldn't say my own name right. I'm 94 years old. I've had, 3 lives? Maybe 4. The first one was Brooklyn, Flatbush Avenue, the shop, my father, my mother's kitchen on Friday nights. The second life started in 1968. That's when I killed a man. I'll tell you about that, but that ain't why I'm sitting here talking to you. The third life, that's the long one, 57 years inside these walls. I came in when Nixon was president. I watched the whole world change through a window. That don't trains. Way. And this one now, the Frank Tidell I saw, the fourth, this is the one where I sit in this chair and I try to tell you what all of it meant. These hands used to cut leather 12 hours a day. Now they can't even hold a cup of coffee steady, but they remember. Hands always remember. You want to know what I miss? Tuesday mornings, that's what I miss. Tuesday mornings in the shop. The bell above the door, this little brass bell my grandfather brought from the old country. Every time somebody walked in, that bell rang, and my father would look up from the bench and say, "Welcome, welcome. What can we do for you today?" Same words, every customer, 40 years. "Welcome, welcome. What can we do for you today?" The shop smelled like leather and glue and my father's coffee. He drank his coffee black, no sugar, from the same chipped cup every day of his life. Blue cup, little crack on the handle. My mother wanted to throw it away 100 times. He wouldn't let her. "This cup still works," he'd say. "Why would I throw away something that still works?" That was Abraham Goldstein, a man who fixed things, shoes, chairs, toasters, marriages. People on the block used to come to him with their problems. Not because he was smart, because he listened. He'd sit there working the leather and just listen. Didn't say much, didn't need to. I had a wife, Ruth, beautiful girl from Bensonhurst. We got married in '62. She used to bring lunch to the shop every day, chicken salad sandwich every single day, and I'd complain, "Ruth, can't you make something different?" She'd laugh and say, "When you can afford a different wife, you'll get a different sandwich." What I wouldn't give for one more chicken salad sandwich. You want to know how I ended up here? I know you do, I'll tell you. But that part is small. It's 5 minutes out of 94 years. And the other 93 years and 355 minutes are what matter. November 14th, 1968. A man came into the shop with a gun, shot my father twice, took $340 from the register. My father died on the floor next to the bench where he'd worked for 40 years. I found the man 3 days later, and I killed him. That's the whole story. That's what the file says. 2nd-degree murder, 15 to life. I was 37 years old. A different man, an angry man, a broken man holding a hammer in the same hands that used to hold shoe leather. That was 57 years ago. I've had a lot of time to think about what those hands did. The first 10 years I was on fire. Angry at the judge, angry at the lawyers, angry at God, angry at the man who killed my father, even though he was already dead. Angry at my father for dying, angry at myself for not being there that night. I fought in here, broke a man's jaw in '71, spent 14 months in solitary for it. Solitary. You know what solitary is? It's a room the size of a closet. No window, no sound, just you and the walls and the inside of your own head. And the inside of my head, that wasn't a good place to be. Ruth stopped coming in '76. I don't blame her. 8 years of visiting a man man behind glass, 8 years of chicken salad sandwiches she couldn't hand to me. She wrote a letter, said she still loved me, but she couldn't do it anymore. I read that letter so many times the ink wore off the paper. Then came the gray years, the nothing years. I don't know. 12 years. I barely remember them. I woke up, I ate, I stared at the wall, I slept, I woke up, I ate. Same wall, same crack in the ceiling that looked like the letter J. No anger, no sadness, no nothing, just existing. Like a shoe on a shelf that nobody picks up. Still there, still a shoe, but nobody's wearing it, nobody needs it. And then one day, I couldn't tell you the exact day, I couldn't even tell you the year. I picked up a book, it was in the library cart, some philosophy book, Plato, Republic. Don't ask me why. Maybe because it was thick and I had nothing but time. I didn't understand a word, not one word. So I read it again and again. Took me 4 months to get through it. And somewhere in those 4 months, something shifted. Not a big thing, not an explosion, more like, you know when the sun comes up and you don't notice it happening, you just look outside and suddenly it's light. That's how it was. Slow, years of slow. I read Plato, then Marcus Aurelius, then this guy Epictetus, another man who'd been a prisoner. He wrote, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." And I thought, here's a man who was a slave 2,000 years ago, and he's talking to me, Abe Goldstein from Flatbush Avenue, in a cell in upstate New York, and he's right. That's when the ice started to melt, not all at once, not even in a year, but slowly, over decades. I stopped being angry at what I lost. I started being aware of what I still had, which wasn't much, but it was something. I've been sitting in this room for 57 years, and I want to tell you 3 things I learned. Not from books, not from Plato or Marcus Aurelius, from living, from sitting here day after day, year after year, and watching the world through a window that don't open all the way. Leçon 1, Perspectiva. The first thing, when I was young, when I was out there free walking down Flatbush Avenue with Ruth on a Saturday, I thought my problems were big. The rent was late. A customer complained about the stitching. Ruth's mother didn't like me. I carried those problems around like boulders on my back. Then I came in here, and I met men who watched their children die, men who lost everything, not a shop, not a marriage, everything, their minds, their names. I met a man once, Arthur, been in here since 1952. 52. He didn't know what a cell phone was, didn't know we'd been to the moon. The world moved on without him, and he didn't even know, and I realized something. Your problems, my problems, they're real. I ain't saying they're not real, but they're small. Everything is small when you pull back far enough. You ever fly in an airplane? You look down and the whole city is the size of your hand. Buildings, cars, people, all tiny. That's what 94 years does to your problems. You see them from far enough away and they shrink. So here's what I want you to hear. That thing that's eating you up right now, the argument, the bill, the person who said something that hurt, it's real, but it's small. 10 years from now, you won't remember it. I promise you that. And if you're lucky enough to get to 94, you'll laugh at it. Leçon 2, Simplicidad. The second thing, when they take everything away from you, your house, your shop, your wife, your name, your shoes, your belt, your razor, when all of it is gone and you're standing in a cell with a cot and a toilet and 4 walls, you find out what you actually need, and it ain't much, a cup of coffee in the morning, somebody to talk to, a book, a window, the sound of birds, if you're lucky. That's it, that's the whole list. Everything else is decoration. I used to worry about the shop, the inventory, the accounts, whether the awning was faded, whether the sign needed paint. I spent years, good free years, worrying about a sign. Now, I'm not saying don't pay your bills, don't get me wrong. Pay your bills, fix the sign, do what you gotta do. But know the difference between the things that keep you alive and the things that keep you busy. They ain't the same. And most people spend their whole lives on the busy part and never get to the alive part. You wanna know what being alive feels like? I'll tell you. It feels like sitting still. It feels like breathing and knowing you're breathing. It feels like looking at another person, really looking, not scrolling, not checking, looking and seeing them. That's it. That's what being alive is. And you don't need a shop or a house or a sign to do it. You just need to stop. Litzone 3, mortalidad. The third thing, and this one's gonna sound strange. Make friends with dying. I know how that sounds. But listen, when I was 40, 50, I was terrified of death. Couldn't sleep some nights. Just lay there thinking, one day I won't exist. One day all of this stops. And the fear would eat me alive, worse than the walls, worse than the sentence. Then I started losing people. My cellie, Frank, heart attack in '84. Eddie from B Block, cancer. Arthur, the old timer I told you about, went in his sleep in '91. One by one, every man I knew in here left. And I stayed. I've said goodbye to more people than most people ever say hello to. And somewhere in all those goodbyes, the fear went away. Not because I stopped caring, because I started understanding. Death isn't the enemy. Death is the thing that makes everything else matter. Without it, a Tuesday morning don't mean nothing. Without it, your father's hands don't smell like nothing. Without it, a chicken salad sandwich is just food. Death is what makes the leather smell sweet. Death is what makes Ruth's laugh the most beautiful sound I ever heard. Because it ends, everything ends, and that's not sad. That's what makes it precious. So stop running from it. Stop pretending it ain't coming. Sit with it. Have a cup of coffee with it, and then go live. Really live. Because you know what the worst thing is? It ain't dying. The worst thing is dying and realizing you never bothered to be alive. I'm 94 years old. These hands fixed 10,000 pairs of shoes before they came in here. Then they broke a man's face. Then they held books for 40 years. Then they started shaking and they wouldn't stop. Same hands, different lives. My father used to say, and I didn't understand it then, he used to say, Abe, the shoe don't know it's a shoe. It just holds the foot. That's enough. I didn't know what that meant when I was 20. I thought it was just my father being my father, saying strange things while he worked. Now I know. I've been angry, I've been sad, I've been numb. I've been everything a man can be without leaving one room. And the only thing I know, the only thing 94 years and 57 years in here, and every book and every goodbye and every morning staring at that crack in the ceiling taught me, is this: be the shoe, hold the foot. That's enough. You're alive right now. Right now, wherever you are, whatever you did, whatever's eating at you, you're alive, and that's the whole miracle. That's all of it. Don't waste it worrying about the sign. I'm 94. I've been everywhere a man can be without leaving one room. And the only place that matters is right here, this moment, this breath. That's all any of us have.